Rob J gave me an incredibly generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon and brings you today's video. Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, versus partners Ishai and Ravos, Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds, and Indominous Rex. Some good commanders here. Didn't do incredibly well with my Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds deck, so should be good to see that, unless the player just randomly scoops, of course. Keep this before we see any other scoops, and make sure to ban this individual. Turn 1 Esper Sentinel for the partner player. Alright, and I was just going to fetch up a Xander's Lounge, but we've drawn into it, so play that. And the Sentinel comes in at us after exiling a Profane Shooter, so we'll assume that this is a high power deck we're seeing here. A Portal to Phyrexia. We are going to want to ramp here, I think, so we'll go for another Swamp, because the swamp count matters when you've got Cabal Coffers in hand, and we'll have to have our opponent cantrip with the Esper Sentinel. A Wayfarer's Bauble, playing and cracking that straight away, and this time the Sentinel goes into the left. Alright, so we could get down our commander here. There is a Patient Rebuilding, which I wouldn't mind getting into play. Yeah, if I didn't think that this player was going to have removal, I mean, you can always tutor into removal is the problem, then I'd get down the commander here, hope for another land, and then go Patient Rebuilding. So let's go for Shocking down the Steam Vents just in case we want to go for the Bedevil and pay the tax. But ideally we'll play out our commander and have the Arcane Denial held up. Alright, just holding up 3 lands for the Indominous Rex, 7 cards in hand, and the Profane Shooter goes off here. We could counter it, but I want to hold up Counter Magic to protect the commander, like I said. And there is a Rhystic Study, which I'd be tempted to counter. Esper Sentinel holding back, and it might be that we just have to get out our commander if we don't get into a land, which we do, so maybe could have gone for the Obeka into Patient Rebuilding. Yeah, let's just go for this now. Obviously didn't go for the Bedevil onto this, so our opponent's going to draw more cards, but it keeps this player as a target for both of us, hopefully. So back up to 7 cards in hand, and we won't get the benefit from Patient Rebuilding until our upkeep. A Sol Ring from the 3-colour deck, Demir's Signet. And there we see Ishai once again holding up the single white mana here, or blue mana. We get the Esper Sentinel again. Alright, so we'll point the mill at our opponent. See if we can draw any more cards here. Hopefully get into a land, hopefully mill some lands. Alright, did manage to draw into an As Foretold, which got us closer to a land, so do manage to get that this turn, and it will put us on the 3 swamps, so 4 swamps and Cabal Coffers actually makes mana. So throw out the bad lands with that, and we'll go for our commander. Going to put a plus counter on Ishai and draw with the Rhystic Study. So we'll test our opponent for that Swords to Plowshares that we think he might have. Otherwise, we might have been played out of not getting Obeka down a few turns earlier. There's Indominous Rex Alpha coming down for the first time, so see how much can be discarded here. Still has a full grip. Alright, getting rid of a Questing Beast, so Vigilance, Death Touch and Haste, and then Trample and Indestructible, so only getting rid of 2 cards, and able to draw 5 up to 10. Either our opponent's missed a land drop, or he hasn't got into one here, unless he wants to play it during the second main. Yep, and going in correctly at the player to the right, I think. Discarding some stuff to hand size here. There is Miri the Cursed, Shadow of the Grave, and a Thassa Deep Dwelling. And then we see a Phyrexian Arena, wouldn't mind seeing that for Obeka. And a Vampire Nighthawk, so I was considering going for Bedevil onto the Ishai, but the Menace won't help us get through here now. So we'll have to swing into the left, I think. And deciding to hold back, holding up blue mana this time. So again, we're going to continue the Patient Rebuilding pointed over here. And didn't get into lands that time, it was a Spellseeker, Erebos, and Cruel Tutor. Getting into a land regardless, so might as well play that. And how's about an As Foretold, so that we can start to get free spells off. That means we'll be able to hold up the Arcane Denial quite comfortably. Alright, so again, not going to pay the tax just in case As Foretold doesn't survive, or we have to go for a Bedevil or an Arcane Signet or something. Arcane Denial even. So we just need to hope that Indominous Rex isn't going to retaliate towards us, because our hand is forced here. Have to take advantage of the Menace with Obeka. Alright, so 2 additional upkeeps here. I think the last time we played this commander we didn't actually get to see the additional upkeeps. It's the curse of doing too well on Magic Online. So we get the Patient Rebuilding pointed at our opponent, get the first counter on As Foretold, and again missing. It's an Angel of Despair, Tragic Slip, and a Coastal Piracy. Upkeep number 2. Alright, and there's a Force of Will. Don't have another blue card to exile with that, unfortunately. And we do just need to hope that the Indominous Rex doesn't consistently come in towards us thanks to Indestructible. The Bedevil can't handle it. Portal to Phyrexia we'll be able to soon though. Say 3 visits, and doubt the taxes are going to be paid here because our opponent's got them down too soon. Still catching up on mana over there really. And the fact that we're getting the mill going here means that the Portal to Phyrexia is going to do pretty well for us. The longer we can hold on to the Arcane Denial, the better really. And there's an Elder Gargaroth. And yeah, not sure if that's being reactionary or if he was always going to spread the damage, but the Rex comes in at us. Just hoping that we draw into a blue spell next turn so that we can hold up the Force of Will if Arcane Denial needs to be used as well. Looking through the deck list now, we don't have an incredible number of blue cards. Phyrexian Arena triggering for the first time for our opponent, so lose a life, draw a card. He has a Soul Ring as well. And a Reaper of the Abyss. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, destroy a non-demon. So might have to use Bedevil on that. We're hoping to be able to land the Portal to Phyrexia anyway, so hopefully we'll be able to blow this up and have him sacrifice the other 3 creatures. Depends on if he gets another creature in here really. It's noteworthy that while we're milling this opponent as well, it's playing into the hand of Ravos, so should maybe go in against this player a little bit as well. Was just trying to show this player that we're focused entirely on the Esper player, but not falling for it apparently. So there is the Reanimate. What is that targeting? Going after the Stonehoof Chieftain. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains Trample and Indestructible. So I think we just have to allow that, unfortunately. Went down to 24 life with that, losing 8. And the 6/6 goes into the left. This doesn't have flying or reach, I assume. No, it doesn't. Although this has reach, doesn't it? Anyway, gaining Trample and Indestructible. So just trying to get this to block, really. Alright, so let's see if we can land this Bedevil. We'll put it at the end step onto this thing, because this would be handy for us to have in play. Because then we could reanimate the Elesh Norn. Kill this thing, and that would count towards the Abyss, and we could blow up other stuff. Plus we don't want it in play against our Obeka. And we might as well pay some tax here, because we've got a free Arcane Denial anyway, so it doesn't matter this additional mana that we've got available to us. Alright, with all those cards in hand, not seeing any counter magic thankfully. And discarding a couple of lands to hand size, so now we'll go after the Indominous Rex Alpha with the Patient Rebuilding. Get a counter on the As Foretold. We'll be able to hold up Force of Will for free this turn, hopefully. Gets us another land, and Twilight Prophet is a nice one. But we do have to go for the portal, I think. So get down Cabal Coffers while we've got the chance before someone goes for a wheel or something. And that currently taps for 4, so we've got 9 mana exactly. And see if we can get any counter magic here. Alright, it is allowed to land surprisingly, so the Esper player's gone full on the card draw and reanimator stuff, it seems. And deciding to keep the Stonehoof Chieftain. So now we'll go through to the attack phase. Can still protect our commander with the denial. Might be that they can get down a flash creature to do some double blocks. This player scoops, so that's another ban. So we actually have no choice but to swing in here now. He took the chieftain with him as well, so totally screwed his opponent over. Make sure to block before I forget. Haven't even buffed Obeka yet, we're just getting 2 additional upkeeps. I mean, it'll mount up with these cool cards that we've got in play, but still it's not like we're getting 10 upkeeps. Alright, so with the 2 upkeeps, we'll go for Portal to Phyrexia. Can go after an Angel of Despair. We'll probably grab the Spellseeker as well so that we can get another counter spell. Patient Rebuilding, obviously only have 1 opponent now. And we'll get rid of the pesky Rhystic Study with the Angel so that we don't see our opponent constantly drawing cards anymore, hopefully. And then for our second upkeep, have we seen any other creatures we care about? Archaeomancer's good. No, we'll just point the mill. Oh, we've actually drawn into a mana drain, which I didn't notice off the previous rebuildings, so maybe go for something other than the Spellseeker. Probably just the Elesh Norn then. And that will buff our Obeka and we can get more upkeeps with that. Alright, and we draw 3 cards there, so milling 3 lands from our opponent off the top. So refilling our hand quite nicely. We want to grab more swamps with Cabal Coffers, so just get rid of Flooded Strand and the Wooded Foothills. Otawara is obviously good as a piece of targeted removal, and it will only cost us 2 mana at the moment, thanks to having Elesh Norn in play. But we can afford a Force of Will for free now, which will make it easier to hold up the 2 mana spells during our opponent's turn. Drawn a lot of cards though, so may well have multiple board wipes in hand or something like that. Alright, and there is the Wrath of God. So the question is, do we go for the mana drain here, and then if we have to go for a free Force of Will, we can get rid of Arcane Denial? I think that's fine. So we'll go for this with the As Foretold, and we'll get 4 free mana. Our opponent may be able to counter this, but doesn't seem to be running counters like we've been worried about all game. See if he's got a second Wrath of God. A Bident of Thassa instead. Looks as though we're going to be able to keep hold of our counter magic, so it is looking like it's a foregone conclusion for us. I hope that we get to swing in with Obeka just one more time whilst we've got more upkeeps available to us. Try and get the Twilight Prophet into play. Our opponent discards Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, to hand size, so not going to be able to root through the graveyard anymore until we've gone for some more Patient Rebuilding. So Portal to Phyrexia now does nothing. Patient Rebuilding will get a mill though. Alright, and there is a Shizo for us. Let's go for... well, we've got more mana with the mana drain I forgot about, so 4 colourless mana from that, and we'll get a black mana with the Marsh Flats as well, unless our opponent has something for us. Alright, that is a Teferi's Protection. We don't want to see that, although is our opponent going to scoop if we... there we have to go for the Force of Will onto the Teferi's Protection, but probably going to see a scoop for doing that. We've milled a Mikaeus from our opponent, that's worth grabbing. Sepulchral Primordial is actually in this deck, so let's grab a swamp. Don't want to waste my opponent's time and have him scoop on us, like I said. So we'll do this as quickly as possible. Shock in a Watery Grave. Make some black mana, and we'll get down the Gate to the Ether and a Twilight Prophet, and that should refill our hand nicely. So don't care if our opponent scoops after this, I just want to get the additional upkeeps because we haven't really got to see it with this commander, and I doubt we'll get to see it all that often. We are assuming that we've got the game here, our opponent might be able to pull it back yet. So turn in with everything, including 4 damage from Elesh Norn, 7 from his Angel. That's again the problem with playing cards like Portal to Phyrexia on Magic Online, is it assumes that your opponents are actually going to stick around and allow you to keep hold of their cards. So Obeka will give us 4, is it? Yep, 4 additional upkeeps here. So Patient Rebuilding on the stack, Portal to Phyrexia. We'll grab the Mikaeus. I don't know if Mikaeus with Undying brings it back under your control or under its owner's control with Undying. Twilight Prophet will probably drain our opponent some more. Only at 5 life at the moment, so it's a bit overkill seemingly. Gate to the Ether, we'll see what we can grab for free, if anything. Just revealing this, unfortunately, which would have been another means of refilling our hand. Oh, it doesn't take it off the top, so Inspiring Refrain was revealed with the Twilight Prophet anyway, taking our opponent down to -1, so didn't see the additional upkeeps with Obeka, but Twilight Prophet was enough to drain our opponent down for that last bit of life. So let's see what else we were drawing into here. Yeah, getting into some decent cards there, some more mana and some more upkeep matters stuff. Wasn't sure about keeping the Gravestorm in the deck, but it is good graveyard hate, and we just so happened to go up against a graveyard deck here, so could have cherry-picked some stuff out of their bin. Big thank you to that opponent for actually playing it out, because it does allow me to show you this Obeka list that I know a lot of you are excited about. Very difficult on Magic Online to get full games, like I said, unless you're losing. Very easy to get full games when you're losing. The instant you start winning, it's impossible to get a full game. But there we are, hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you to the patrons for their support of the channel financially as well. You can follow the link in the description below if you'd like to do that yourself. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.